Welcome back, Weather Reconnaissance Team, to another weekly recon briefing update. I'm your host, Russ Parsons. Thrilled to be here with you today, Monday, May the 4th. And may the 4th be with you. 2026, bringing you the latest on what Mother Nature has in store for us today and the upcoming work week in the Great Plains states of the United States of America. Coming to you live, as always, from Parsons, Kansas, where it's partly sunny outside and we're sitting right around 82 degrees today. But as always, we're looking beyond our immediate surroundings. Welcome back, folks. I want to welcome everybody out there. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you're aware that anytime I do go live on YouTube, you're notified, and you can follow me. And I'm also live at the same time on Facebook and Twitch. So 3 different platforms, so there's no excuse not to get out there and see what's coming up in the weather in the Great Plains states of the United States of America. All right, we are going to get started. And wow, what a photograph here to get started with. Huge shout out to Matthew Brighter Photography. He took this photograph of a tornado right after it first started near Elk City, Kansas, in northern part of Montgomery County, Kansas, here 1 county west of where I live. And this would have been last Sunday evening, April the 26th. So huge shout out to Matthew. Incredible photograph. I believe the tornado did get a little bit bigger after this and went on to hit the small community of Sycamore. However, about the time it was in Sycamore and farther east, points east, it became rain-wrapped. So it was very, very difficult to see the tornado, and it was wrapped in rain. So this area here near Elk City, Kansas, which is west of Sycamore, where this picture was taken, was more of the photogenic part of the tornado cycle, since everything else was rain-wrapped. We'll get into some little more specifics on this storm here in just a few moments. But we are going to get right on into the presentation. Before we get in on the presentation here, get on with the presentation, huge shout out to my brothers and sisters out there on this National Weather Observers Day, May 4th, celebrating those who watch the skies. I've been watching the skies now probably for a good going on 40 to 45 years. It's all started, actually, in a future presentation, I will tell you how it all started. Makes for an interesting story, and I'm going to bring all that up at a future date. So tune in, and not sure if it'll be next week or the week after, but we'll talk about how I got interested in weather and why I'm doing what I'm doing. But anyway, huge shout out to all of my fellow cocoa raisins from Cocoa Raws and any other National Weather Service co-op observers. Same boat here, but today is National Weather Observers Day. Kind of wanted to mention all the folks that make the behind the scenes actually happen. This is the last week's severe weather events here in the Great Plains states of the United States of America. North Dakota, not a whole lot. A little bit of snowfall here in western South Dakota. A few spots of snow here in western Nebraska over the past 7 days. But several hail reports. This was a cold frontal passage from about the northeast back to the south and west that occurred early on in the week. It was a calm, quiet week weather-wise. Once this frontal passage went through here and caused a lot of havoc. You see the tornado reports here in southeastern Kansas, Montgomery County. A few reports here west of Pawhuska and Bartlesville of tornadoes. I don't believe they caused a lot of damage, but even a couple reports here of tornadoes in Texas as this frontal boundary sagged on south throughout the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame down here. Lots of hail reports, even several flood reports here in eastern Kansas. And one of my reports last Sunday night was one of those flood reports. Here in the city of Parsons, Kansas, we picked up about 4.14 inches of rain in about a 2-hour period. And that was from the supercell thunderstorm that just unleashed tons of rain over our heads for that 2-hour period. From the supercell storm that caused the tornadoes in Montgomery County. That supercell storm went on to affect areas of Labette County, where I live, and on into Cherokee County, which is a county to the east of where I live here, and a lot of wind damage in Oswego, which is straight south, the county seat of Labette County, and I did go out and chase this storm. I didn't get to see a whole lot. Like I said, by the time that I seen the storm initially, it had already been through the Sycamore, Kansas area here in northern Montgomery County, and it was already rain wrapped by the time that I seen the updraft and the wall cloud and everything. So I was not able to see a whole lot, but I did follow it all the way across Labette County pretty much. And it was dark when I saw it mostly in Labette County. It was about 7:30 or 7:40 p.m., I believe, when the tornado went through Sycamore. And so it gets dark here in southeastern Kansas about 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And so it was dark most of the time that I seen it, but lots of flashes of lightning. Very typical for these type of supercell storms. Lots of lightning around the updraft area of the storm, so it was well lit most of the time. Had lots of lowerings, several wall clouds, rotating wall clouds, but I never did see an actual tornado on the ground in Labette County while I was following it through Labette County. So let's get on with our presentation. This video I want to play is courtesy of Brendan Lindsay. Taken approximately 6:43 p.m. Sunday, April 26th of the Elk City, Kansas tornado. This part of Montgomery County, northern Montgomery County, is hilly and got several valleys and very, very tall hills through that area. It's just a very short video I wanted to show you. But a huge shout out to Brendan for being a good storm chaser, catching this tornado as it was developing across northern Montgomery County last Sunday evening. This is the National Weather Service damage survey results from Montgomery County, from the National Weather Service office in Wichita. They are in charge of warnings for this part of southeastern Kansas, and they did a good job of warning. A big shout out to the Wichita Weather Service office for giving us lots of heads up. We had plenty of warning. This supercell started way back west of Montgomery County also, so folks had a lot of lead time for this particular storm. And as you see here, a couple different tornadoes occurred. It went through a cycle. That's the reason for the first tornado. A little bit of damage here in the middle of the path. The first tornado, number one, west of Sycamore, Kansas. This is, if you want to know where Sycamore is, it's a little more than halfway between Independence, Kansas, and the US 75 and US 400 intersection. So I would say probably about 10 miles north 10 to 15 miles north of Independence, Kansas. And Parsons would be back over here about 15 miles or so east of this area. But anyway, tornado number 1 had a path length of about 5 miles. It was rated EF1, which was 86 to 110 mile an hour winds, and mainly tree damage. The second tornado was south and east. Actually started south and west of Sycamore here, west of 75 Highway, and caused quite a bit of damage. Mainly over here, I believe, was to buildings and outbuildings. In the yellow upside down triangles, that was the EF2 damage, which was 110 to 135 mile an hour area that made it an EF2 tornado. And here off on the right, you see some of the damage to the houses and outbuildings and barns. Did have one injury. I'm not sure if it occurred in this particular house here on the right or not, but it went on for about 4.6 miles with about a 400-yard width. It did have one injury, and that started from about 7:09 and ended about 7:23. My location would have been probably about 3 to 4 miles back to the east, northeast over here. There's a intersection of US 400 highway, which goes east and west in this area, and a north and south US highway 169 is where I caught up with the storm. I didn't quite get out as soon as I wanted to. I probably should have left the house quite a bit earlier than I did, but I was tracking the storm on radar up to the point where it developed the tornado west of Sycamore, and just never looked real promising until it dropped the tornado west of Sycamore. Like I said, it started 2 or 3 counties west of this area and then moved off to the east and south and east from this area. And I pretty much caught up with it around the Big Hill Lake and stayed up with the wall cloud, even in the dark, throughout most of Labette County. It went on to cause quite a bit of wind damage. I don't know if they had a tornado or not. I believe they might have had a tornado in Cherokee County, west of Columbus, out of this same storm, but there was no tornadoes reported or any damage surveys done in the county of Labette County. And it did cause quite a bit of wind damage, probably from the rear flank downdraft, which causes some pretty hefty straight line winds as it went through the small town of Oswego, Kansas, which is our county seat here in Labette County. But no official tornado reports or damage in Labette County from this particular storm. Another interesting fact here, it's been very stormy, 2026 so far. This slide came out of the National Weather Service in Wichita this past week. And actually on Sunday morning, they put this out. And Kansas has had, as of Sunday morning, about 10 a.m., they've had 485 tornado/severe thunderstorm warnings. So all storm warnings total for the state of Kansas so far this year is 485. Between January and April, the average is usually 219. So as you see, it has been a very active, severe weather year. And there's really nothing showing that that's going to slow down anytime soon, at least through May and June. May is usually our big month. And if we've already had 485 severe weather warnings in the state of Kansas, then, man, I'm not sure what we're going to see coming up here in May. But as you see down here at the bottom, it says that's the most January through April warnings since records began in 1986. So just a kind of interesting tidbit there that it has been a very active year so far, and there's nothing showing that that's going to let up anytime soon. A little bit more Kansas statistics here, which I found pretty interesting. As you see here, the light green areas, all above normal precipitation. Here in Parsons, Labette County, about 4.9 inches above normal. And down here in Cherokee County, about almost 9 inches above normal on rainfall. They're also above normal in Lynn County and Bourbon County, the very eastern part of Kansas here. But as you also see in the brown areas, not doing so well, not doing so hot. 2.17 inches below normal here in Wichita. And out here around Dodge City, about 1 inch and 7/10 below normal. So central and western Kansas staying pretty dry. So where do you actually think that the warnings, all the severe weather warnings, is taking place? Well, here across eastern Kansas, in the green shaded areas, is where we've been having all the thunderstorms and rain. So hopefully our friends out here in central and western Kansas can pick up a little bit on their weather and get them some much needed rainfall out there and get them out of a drought. This was the total precipitation for the month of April in Kansas. Had about 9.67 inches here in Parsons and over 13 inches of rain in Cherokee County, Kansas. That's quite a bit of rain, folks, for 1 month. Quite a bit of rain. And the neat part of this is 9.67 inches here in Parsons for this April. Last April, I believe I recorded a little over 10 inches for the month. So we're a little behind from what we were even last year. And that's still well above normal for my Cocoa Ross station here in Parsons. All right, we are going to get on here with this is the Wednesday through Sunday hazards outlook, May 6th through the 10th. Big story, first part of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, frost and freeze is expected across western Kansas, eastern Colorado, a lot of Nebraska, and a lot of South Dakota. If you live in eastern Colorado, expect quite a bit of snowfall. The eastern front of the Rocky Mountains and most of the plains of the Rockies east of Denver here, and all the way out into a little bit of western Kansas can expect snowfall, with a little bit of snowfall expected a little bit further north up here. And we'll get into that forecast here in just a little bit. Today, as you see here, severe weather is expected along this cold frontal boundary that extends from about Michigan all the way down into Iowa, northern Kansas. And you also have a low pressure center here in central Kansas and a trough or dry line that extends down into central Oklahoma. They have a slight risk, we'll look at that here in just a second, of storms along this yellow hatched area today, with a marginal risk of severe weather further down into Kansas and Oklahoma. And as we speak, I was sitting here looking at the radar and kind of give you a current update. There are some storms that's starting to fire up in Oklahoma and Kansas out here in this area, and then down here along the dry line in central Oklahoma. And they have put out a mesoscale discussion at 4:50 p.m. Central Daylight Time this afternoon, saying that severe potential is very possible down there, and about a 40% chance of a severe watch being issued for that area in central Oklahoma. They're expecting isolated supercells, possible this afternoon and evening, with a risk for hail, some 2+ inch in diameter, and damaging winds. The need for a watch is unclear, but will be closely monitored. Lots of billowing cumulus on visible satellite. Showed some pretty high base cumulus towers in that area and along the dry line, portions of central and western Oklahoma back here, and that's kind of the area they're keeping an eye on right now. Nothing severe as of yet, but if anything does come up, stay tuned to Russ's Weather Recon, and we will keep you updated this evening. Like I said, the severe weather outlook, it includes the very northeastern part of Kansas and a slight risk The darker greens is a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms, and the darker greens are mainly for large hail and damaging winds. The tornado threat today, I believe, is up here in Indiana and Illinois. So everything else is going to be hail and wind in Kansas and Oklahoma and northern Texas this evening. Do have a fire weather outlook today. Elevated fire risk in western Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle. If you're in those areas, please do not burn this afternoon and this evening. Pretty dangerous burning conditions down in that area today. Tomorrow's surface analysis chart shows the severe weather threat moves on down into southeastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, along the cold frontal boundary tomorrow, and showers and few thunderstorms left over back behind the front. And then this is where we're talking about the snowfall across eastern Colorado, western Kansas, and back into western Nebraska. And that is tomorrow on Tuesday, May the 5th time frame. This is the severe weather outlook for tomorrow on Tuesday. They do have a slight risk of severe storms across southeastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, and the green areas, darker green areas, is the marginal risk around that yellow slight risk. Mainly heavy rains, large hail, and damaging winds be along that cold frontal boundary as that cold front moves on to the south and east. This is Wednesday's surface analysis chart. Still a chance of severe weather. This front is not moving very quick as it moves on into Texas. It does move out of Oklahoma and moves on into eastern Texas. Still a severe risk of severe thunderstorms across eastern Texas along that frontal boundary. So if you're along the boundary or to the south, you are still going to have a severe weather risk, severe storm risk here across eastern Texas on Wednesday. This is the day 3 severe weather outlook on Wednesday, May the 6th. And that does move down here along this cold frontal boundary across eastern Texas, back into central Texas. Still have a marginal risk back here with the slight risk across extreme eastern Texas. So look out for your wind, strong winds, large hail, and you can't ever rule out a risk of tornadoes with a severe storm. But some days are just bigger, strong wind and hail producers than tornado producers. This is Thursday's surface analysis chart. As you see here, the cold front finally makes it to the very southern edge of Texas by the Thursday time frame with some leftover showers and storms across central and southeastern part of Texas. Directly behind that cold frontal boundary. This cold frontal boundary, as it comes through, it is going to cool things down quite a bit. I believe on the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, we'll see highs in the middle, the upper 50s, and lows in the upper 30s here across eastern Kansas. So things will cool down quite a bit behind this particular cold front as it makes its way off to the south and east. This is Friday's surface analysis chart. Still some leftover rain, showers and thunderstorms here across eastern, southeastern Texas. And the front makes its way on down into the Gulf of America. And as you see back up here to the north, and you got another little front that's kind of dipping back down on this is Friday afternoon time frame with some showers and storms developing here in western Nebraska, southwestern South Dakota, and northern Colorado. This is Saturday's surface analysis chart. Still got a few rain showers and thunderstorms hanging around central and eastern Texas. And then back up here around this frontal boundary that kind of stalls out across northern Kansas, Most of Nebraska and southwestern South Dakota will have some chances of showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. And this is Sunday's surface analysis chart. And as you see here, a big portion of central and southern plain states, Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas will all have chances of showers and thunderstorms. And we'll kind of have to wait and see. At this point in time, there is an indication that may be our next chance of severe weather on the next Sunday and Monday time frames. But that is something that we'll keep an eye on here at Russ's Weather Recon, and we'll give you another update between now and then if that's actually going to be a thing or not. They have put some chances of rain in the forecasts for this time frame on Sunday and Monday, but we'll have to see if that will actually be severe or not. The way this setup looks, it's a very good possibility this time of year that we may have some severe storms on the Sunday-Monday time frame of beginning of next week. San Antonio, this is your next 7-day forecast. As you see, you're going to top out at about 92 degrees tomorrow on Tuesday, and lots of chances of rain from about Wednesday night through Friday night, with your biggest chance, let me go back a slide, with your biggest chance probably being Thursday during the daytime. You're going to get down to about 75 degrees with those thunderstorms during the day on Thursday. And then by the weekend, sunny on Saturday. So that's going to be your main sunny day. Clear during the day and partly cloudy and cloudy at night with a high of about 85 degrees on Saturday. And then you've got some showers and storms that move in on Sunday again. Oklahoma City, you got a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening in Oklahoma City. Like I said, if anything can develop along the dry line tonight in central Oklahoma, you'll have large hail, damaging winds along that boundary, and then you'll have about a 10% chance of drizzle in the morning with the frontal passage. And as you see here, it cools back down to like 64 degrees on Wednesday with the frontal passage. And like I said, the next frontal boundary will affect even Oklahoma City on Saturday night into Sunday during the day and then Sunday night. And that's the time frame that we'll have to see if we'll have any severe weather coming up or not. Just have to kind of wait and see for that time period. Wichita, Kansas, you've got a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight all the way through Wednesday morning and maybe early afternoon Wednesday. And the frontal boundary will cool you down from a warm 86 degrees today to about 54 degrees on Wednesday with the cold frontal passage. Pretty comfortable temperatures there on Thursday, Friday. Sunny during this day on Saturday with some more rain and showers and thunderstorms coming in on Saturday night. And then once again on Sunday night. Here in Parsons, Kansas, about the same thing. Our chances here in Parsons are about 60% chance tonight of showers and thunderstorms. It comes down to about 40% chance during the day tomorrow and a 50% chance tomorrow night. And we will cool down Wednesday during the daytime, about 57 degrees for a high, 40 degrees for a low, which is pretty typical behind a cold frontal passage like this that we're having. Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday during the morning part of Saturday looks to be pretty good. And then we'll get back up to about a 40% chance Saturday night and then the Sunday during the day. So it looks like the second half of the weekend is going to be pretty wet here in Parsons. Lincoln, Nebraska. Same story. Here at the beginning of the week, you're going to have some showers and thunderstorms tonight and then into tomorrow and tomorrow night. And the frontal passage will cool you down to about 60 degrees for a high, 37 for a low on Wednesday night with some frost possible Thursday morning when you wake up. And you'll also have chances of showers and storms again Saturday night through the Sunday night time frame. So if you got anything you need to do this weekend, you'll have some time. Friday evening, and then again on Saturday for about half the day or so. So you'll still have some time to get out and do some stuff on Saturday in Lincoln. Pierre, South Dakota, your lows are going to get down to about 28 degrees. Look at that on Tuesday evening, and highs in the lower to middle 50s for the first part of the week, up to around 70 degrees for a high on Saturday. Showers and storms possible in Pierre, South Dakota. Looks like on Saturday, but your Sunday turned into a pretty decent day, it looks like, in Pierre, South Dakota. In Minot, North Dakota, they're expecting some snow showers, actually rain and snow showers mixed today, and then a little bit of chance tonight, rain and snow tonight. And they're going to be clear skies during the day mostly, and partly cloudy to cloudy skies at night. And looks like a pretty darn decent week, the full week in Minot, North Dakota. Really can't complain. Still down below freezing the first part of the week, it looks like, for your lows, and then that warms back up to around 40 degrees by Sunday evening. So not bad at all for Minot, North Dakota this week. This is our 7-day, Monday evening through next Sunday evening's 7-day precipitation forecast. This is the GFS weather model that they're using here for the next 7 day totals. And it looks like over eastern Kansas, eastern Oklahoma, and eastern Texas is going to, once again, get most of our rainfall and precipitation over the next 7 days. Here across southeastern Kansas, that's about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in some areas. And looks like even western Kansas may pick up a little bit more rainfall this week. Anywhere from about 3/4 inch to 1 inch, it looks like here in that area. And maybe even up to 2 inches here in southeastern Texas. So eastern Kansas, Oklahoma, southeastern Texas will be the rainfall getters. And it looks like even western Kansas and eastern Oklahoma. The last I seen, eastern Colorado is supposed to get upwards of 10 inches of snowfall. So if you know anybody that lives out in that area, let them know they're going to get some pretty good snowfalls over the next day or two in that area. And which is quite common, even for this late in the spring. They can get snow all the way into the month of May along the Rocky Mountains out here in Colorado. And then the plains, the Rocky Mountain plains here across eastern Colorado can also pick up some pretty decent snowfall this time of year. All right. That brings us to our Beyond the Forecast segment once again. And today we're going to expand on the HRRR model. If you didn't catch last week's show, I will leave the link in the comments and in the description for last week's show, so you make sure you get that show. This is kind of expanding on that a little bit on how I use the HRRR model on an active storm chase day, step by step. And we are going to take a look at this, and we're going to show you step by step on how it actually works. It's actually pretty interesting. So we'll start with the night before. My chase day actually starts the night before a big storm day. And before I even think about the HRRR, I go broad. I'm looking at the synoptic picture, the big scale setup, the GFS, Euro, and NAM models. I want to actually understand the pattern. Where's the upper level trough? Where's the surface low going to track? Where's the dry line going to set up? What does the jet stream look like? The HRRR doesn't run far enough out to be useful the night before. Remember, it only goes out to about 18 to 48 hours max. So at this stage, I'm using it for one thing only: getting a feel for the mesoscale environment. I'll actually pull the latest HER run and look at the 12 to 18 hour frames just to see if there's anything the higher resolution model is catching that the GFS is missing. A subtle outflow boundary, a terrain feature, a cap that looks stronger or weaker than expected. But I'm not making any chase decisions based on the HER model the night before. It's just a supplemental gut check. The real HER starts working in the morning. This slide here actually gives you a chase day time frame or timeline. And like I said, the night before, I'm checking the GFS and Euro models for the big picture. The HER is a supplemental check only. And then when it gets real exciting is when you wake up the next morning. And for the morning assessment, I'm usually up early on a chase day. We're talking maybe 5, 6 a.m. at the latest. The 0Z HER model run, that's midnight UTC, so 7 p.m. Central the night before. It's actually already out. But more importantly, by the time I'm up, the 06Z run is available, and that's my first serious HER look of the day. Here's what I'm checking at this stage. I'm checking the simulated reflectivity out to about 12 to 15 hours. Where's the model initiating storms? What time are they initiating these storms? Is it showing discrete supercells, a squall line, or a messy cluster? Discrete storms is what chasers want, which is isolated, organized storms that are trackable. A linear mess is a lot harder to work with. You also want to look at the surface-based CAPE. How much instability is the model building through the afternoon? I'm looking at the spatial distribution. Where's the best instability axis? Is it close to the dry line? Is there a sweet spot where CAPE is high and the cap is manageable? And that's the next thing I want to talk about is the CAP, or the CIN, which stands for convective inhibition. This is what they call the CAP. The HER model's handling of the CAP is one of the most important and sometimes most frustrating outputs. Too much CAP or inhibition and storms don't fire. Too little and you get a garbage can of storms firing everywhere. I want to see where the cap erodes through the day and whether the model is showing a clean initiation window. You also want to look at boundary layer winds and moisture. One of the biggest thing that you want to look at is the surface dew points, which is the low-level jet timing and the wind shear profiles. I'll actually look at the HER-generated photographs for my target area to get a feel for the storm mode and the tornado potential. Then step 3, you've got the hourly update cycle. This is where the HER becomes irreplaceable. Every single hour, a new run drops, and on an active chase day, I'm checking nearly every one of them. Here's my mental framework. I'm not looking at any single HER run in isolation. I'm watching the trend across the runs. If the 09Z, 10Z, and 11Z runs are all consistently showing storm initiation at 5 p.m. near a specific boundary, that's a high confidence signal. If every run is showing something different, storms moving earlier, later, further north, further south, that tells me the atmosphere is in a sensitive state and I need to hedge my positioning. By midday, I'm also starting to overlay real observations on top of the HER output. Surface analysis from the Storm Prediction Center, mesoanalysis graphics, actual surface dew points versus what the model was predicting, If the model is forecasting 65-degree dew points and I'm only seeing 60s at the surface stations, I'm going to temper my expectations. That moisture difference matters for CAPE and storm intensity. One thing I always watch for, the HRRR will sometimes over-initiate in the early afternoon. It firestorms too early because it's slightly too aggressive with cap erosion. If I see storms firing in the model at 2 p.m., but the surface observations show a cap still firmly in place, I trust the observations. The next step is the departure decision. When do I actually leave to go? At some point, I've got to commit and put the car in drive. That decision is almost never made on the HRRR alone. It's a combination of the HRRR, the Storm Prediction Center mesoscale discussions, surface observations, and gut instinct built from experience. But the HRRR heavily influences two specific decisions. Where to position. I'm looking at the latest run simulated reflectivity initiation zone and trying to get myself within reasonable striking distance. Close enough to intercept, far enough away that I'm going to get run over in the first 20 minutes, that I'm not going to get run over in the first 20 minutes of the storm initiation. The HRRR storm motion vectors and the hodograph help me figure out which storm directions or which direction those actually storms will move so I can set up on the correct side. How do I determine when to leave? If the HRRR is showing a 5 p.m. initiation time and I'm 2 hours from the target area, I need to be rolling by about 2:30 at the latest, accounting for your roads, traffic, and the possibility that storms fire early. I always build in a buffer, and the HRRR can be off on timing. I'd rather be in position an hour early than spend my chase day racing to catch up. The next step is actually in the field. Once I'm out there, the HRRR stays on my phone. I've got pivotal weather pulled up and I'm checking it in between repositions. At this point, I'm mostly using it for two things. Future radar loops, which is the simulated reflectivity. It helps me out or helps me anticipate where a storm is going to be in 30 to 60 minutes. So I can pick my roads ahead of time instead of reacting in real time. It also allows me to track the boundaries. Outflow boundaries, old frontal positions, subtle wind shift lines. The HRRR model, surface analysis, and wind fields can help me identify where storm interactions or new initiation might happen. In Tornado Alley, storms that ride along a boundary or interact with one often produce the most significant tornadoes. I also keep the actual radar on a separate app. I'm not relying on simulated reflectivity when there's real radar to look at. The HRRR model is supplementing my situational awareness, not replacing it. Storm chasing is a decision-making sport. The meteorology is the foundation, but executing a good chase, getting in position, staying safe, seeing what you came to see, is about reading a constantly evolving situation in real time. The HRRR is the best tool I've found for keeping up with that evolution. It's not perfect by any means. It'll burn you sometimes, but when you learn its tendencies, when you know how to read the run-to-run trends and cross-check it against surface observations, it becomes genuinely indispensable. If you want to see this process in action on a real chase day, I'm going to start documenting my forecast and workflow on camera this season. So make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss those episodes. Drop a comment below. What's your go-to model on chase days? I want to hear what you're using and why you're using it. I'll catch you all in the next one. and stay safe and stay weather aware. But that kind of in a nutshell is my typical chase day and the day before. And it's pretty interesting. And like I said, you can't depend on any one model. You really can't. I mean, it's just, it don't work that way. A lot of it is experience. I challenge, if you are a new potential storm chaser, I challenge you to read even more. You think you're an expert at it? I want you to even read more, because you will always learn something. It's not just what you see in the field is how you learn, but you also need to read books. You need to read about this. You need to read other people's chase summaries online, catch some of those, and you will always learn something new, guaranteed. I learn something new every time I go out, and I've been doing this close to, probably about 35 years, between 35 and 40 years is how long that I've been chasing storms now, and I'd like to say that I'm a professional at it, but I've got a long ways to go. I'm learning something new every day, and you might as well walk away from it if you're not learning something new from it every day, because if it's no longer fun to you and you're no longer learning anything, there's really no reason to even be out there and clogging up the roads and highways. But like I said, I learn something new from storm chasing every time I go out. And even within the last few years, I'm doing more storm spotting than chasing. So that way I'm helping out the county that I'm actually employed for and with, keep its citizens safe. And there's lots of ways to learn too, from watching video at home. Lots of live storm chasers out there, not only on YouTube, but Facebook, everywhere. And you can learn a lot. Even if you're young and want to get into this someday, you can learn a lot by watching what these folks are doing and what they don't do, some of the stupid stuff they do. But that's pretty much today's weekly weather recon update. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And remember, knowledge is power when it comes to weather. And you can always stay up to date by following us at Russ's Weather Recon on Facebook. And make sure you like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Russ Weather Recon, and join me next week for another reconnaissance mission into the atmosphere. Until then, stay safe, stay informed, and enjoy the weather, whatever it may be.